And welcome back, YouTube. This is Booster Box Buster, here with something amazing. Today I got for you, hailing from the incredibly popular Fate Grand Order franchise, Saber Nero Claudius, and not her first, not her second, but in her third Ascension state. This particular figure is brought to us in 1/7 scale, and made by the company Stronger. But before we take a look at the figure, let's just take a look at what houses the figure, the box. Now this is a very good sized box, so for those who love to save their boxes, it will take up some space, so I hope you do have a little extra space saved for it. Now, on the front side here, we have a very lovely image of Saber Nero. Of course, the Type Moon official sticker of authenticity, the Fate Grand Order logo, which is just out of screen, and then the Stronger Company logo on the bottom left, which is also just out of screen. Now, one really cool thing about this particular box is its window packaging that pops open like this. So the actual figure would have been presented right here. And then on the side you actually have some pretty cool images of the actual Nero Claudius on the side. So that's kind of a cool little way to display the box and have the person take a look at it and keep it nice and tidy on the shelf. Don't have to worry about the windows accidentally getting punched out, which I can applaud them for, because for those who do keep their boxes, you know how easy those window packagings could be to accidentally punch out or just knock out altogether. On this side we have another very lovely image of Nero Claudius, 3rd Ascension. On the back we have some more lovely images, some close-up shots of her crown, and of some other particular fancy products. And on the side we have yet another lovely image of Saber, Nero Claudius. All the legal information is actually reserved for the back of the box this time. So that's kind of nice. Don't have to worry about having it clog up the back. It's right on the bottom, where it's out of sight and out of mind. But of course, you did not come here to see a review of a box. You want to see a review of the actual figure itself. And if I could get my turntable to actually want to stay on, that would be lovely. There we go. So let's take a look at the actual figure. Of Saber. Nero Claudius, 3rd Ascension. Now I have to say, at first glance, this is actually a really well done figure. It stays really true to the character, and it is commanding. This will be a centerpiece on a shelf or on a display case. It is large. As you can tell, it has quite the large base to support her flaring dress and of course her at-arms sword. Now let's just get a quick turnaround of the figure here. I will say this, the figure does come in a couple of different parts. You have the main base, you have the main part of the figure, you have of course the sword detached, a detachable hand so you could easily insert the sword, and oddly enough the back of her hair is also detachable. I guess that's to prevent the hairpiece from breaking off, which I can understand. It could probably very easily break off. I've had some very thin hair pieces break off in the past. And that is the quick turnaround of this particular lovely Nero Claudius figure. Now, of course, let's start with the close-up view. First thing I do want to mention is the base. It has the standard FGO, Fake Grand Order, summoning circle, as a lot of figures of this size and quality tend to have. And it's a very lovely gold symbols with a white background with some of that almost like bluish tint guided in. Hopefully it's picking up on the camera. There we go. This figure is also pretty hefty. It has a good heft to it, so this thing would not easily be knocked over. It's going to take some force because of the heft of the cape, the figure itself, and of course the flaring dress. Now let's take a look at the boots that she's wearing, which is very lovely armored plated or gold plated like boots. Of course, they have the high heel to them to stylize. And they're just very lovely gold-plated. They go all the way up to the knee, where you could kind of see it through the flaring dress. And of course, it has some very lovely knee guards. All the way up, she is not wearing anything else underneath the dress besides some underwear. I do have to mention that. And yes, you can see it pretty easily. That's the downside of having a translucent dress. You don't leave too much to the imagination. As you can show, now I will say this very lovely yellow translucent slip underneath is actually very well made. You don't see a lot of translucent pieces like this in anime figures, so I do applaud them quite a bit for doing that. It looks actually very stunning. Not very practical, but very stunning. Especially with the gold-plated boots underneath there. Now, of course, let's move up. She's wearing her signature red dress. Hopefully I can get some, there we go, with not so much light glaring off of it. It's a lot more cherry red than it is in the video here. The video makes it look a little bit more pinkish red. And of course you have some very lovely gold linings here. Let's move up. At the corset, it's very lovely red, white, and gold, with some white trim at the top of the bust. Once again, sorry about the drastic lighting here. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So you guys can kind of tell, like right at the bust, she does indeed have almost like a tube top going on there. And now let's move up to the shoulders. She has some very lovely armaments on her left shoulder with some flaring shoulder pads. And of course it leads into the incredible golden greaves, golden gauntlets that she is wearing there, and I love them. And the fingerwork is actually really well detailed. Each finger is individually made, there's spaces in between each finger. It's really well done. It actually looks very mechanical, very lifelike. We're going to talk about this piece in a little bit here. Let's talk about the rest of the arm here first. Of course you have the very awesome flaring with power. I'm just going to call it like blue flare action here. And then she's wearing some red gloves to, of course, grasp her sword. And I gotta say, they did a great job with the sword. Running red and black with very fine detail running all the way down. Some excellent shading, some excellent highlights. Great job with the sword overall. And then of course, what makes this piece so heavy, worth more money than the standard edition, and the reason it's called Third Ascension is of course the crown lion sitting on her right shoulder on top of a very lovely frill pad here. Just incredible work. I mean, look at that lion's face. Incredible detail. Looks almost like a lion or Anubis from Yu-Gi-Oh! Incredible, well done. And of course you have the little hearts on the white fluff there. The red ribbon running down the front. And you have the cape in the back. This cape honestly is pretty standard. It has some good like tints of greenish wash to it, so I guess you could kind of say it has had some battle. Maybe it's in a weird lighting, like maybe like some sort of like a greenish hueish lighting condition. That's kind of cool. Of course, under here, and the nice thing is it fits very well, at least my figure did, where the cape rests pretty well on the base with very little gap and without forcing it to sit on there too. So that was a very nice plus. It adds a little more stability to the character because it is a very heavy piece. So I do appreciate that. And of course along the cape you have these very lovely like gold, almost Egyptian-like signatures running all the way down to kind of embroider the cape. Very lovely attention to detail there. And of course, let's talk about the make it or break it part of any anime figure. We're going to take a look at the face of Nero Claudius and the hair. Well, first off, the mouth is a little bit open. It looks like she's a little concerned, the expression on her face. Maybe she just happened to witness a horrific act. Maybe she's thinking, maybe she's in deep thought. I'm not quite sure. Not a huge fan of the mouth being a little bit open like that. And it's in a more of a frowning position, so she's not very happy. The nose is very cute, and the eyes are incredibly well done, so those are great. I haven't had a figure in a while that has had bad eyes, so they are doing quite a well job on the eyes lately. The front of the hair is actually well done. I love the bangs coming off of here, and the side flares. On each side, it actually looks pretty good, and of course her little colic. That's actually, I did forget to mention, that is actually a piece that's not what do I want to say? It's a piece that you actually have to insert. So it comes off and it does snap on. So you don't have to worry about snapping it off like I did on a previous figure. So that is a nice little attention to detail because, trust me, this piece right here is very fragile. I've had it snap off on the one Saber at the beach. I forget the name, but it's the one where she's holding the water gun. And that was a little bit unfortunate. So I do applaud them for thinking about the fragility of this particular piece of hair. Now I do have to say the crown of leaves in the back is a fantastic touch. The hair still looks kind of like a volleyball to me, or like a wicker basket on the back. But I think it works better when it's tied up like that compared to when it's flowing and kind of looks noodly. So I do say that that is a pretty good hair job. And of course the red ribbon, just flowing really well. So, overall, I would have to say that Stronger's Nero Claudius 3rd Ascension 1/7 scale figure is definitely worth your money to add to any Fate Grand Order collection or Saber collection. This particular figure is well built, definitely a centerpiece for anybody's collection, and if you are a fan of Nero, no-brainer, instant buy. The 3rd Ascension I think is definitely worth the extra money because the cape, the crown, just add that little extra touch, and honestly, I think down the line, just for future sake, this is going to be the harder one to get, I believe, so if you miss out on it now, I think it's going to be much harder to get down the road, unless they do a re-release. I love the translucent dress. It's not very practical, but that is the way the character is built. And you don't see very many translucent pieces on anime figures to begin with. I love that fact. The crown is beautiful. The face is pretty well done for the most part. Just the frowning. I wish it was more of just a smile or just kind of like a contempt face, but I can understand that is the way the character is. And honestly, everything else is pretty well done. Like I said, the big issue is space, and I think that's about it. Honestly, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. That is my score. 9.5 out of 10. Definitely worth picking up. This is Booster Box Buster with an anime figure review of Saber Nero Claudius 1/7 scale, made by the company Stronger. Signing out.